Hi, this is Jillian Aversa, and today I want to talk about how to fit even a very dynamic vocal track into a mix using a bunch of techniques like EQ, compression, and volume automation. This was a topic requested after my first video on pop stack vocal mixing, which I'm glad so many of you enjoyed. So, mixing vocals can be easy or very, very tricky depending on the piece. For example, here's an arrangement of Near, Song of the Ancients that I sang. The instrumentation is simple and light, and the background vocals stay at a consistent volume. This makes it pretty straightforward to mix the vocals in. But the more the vocal volume changes, the harder it is to mix. Even if the background is sparse, and even if my actual singing dynamic is the same, the actual notes I sing can make a big difference in terms of volume. Here's a piece called Prelude by Tom Salta, which I sang for the game Halo Spartan Assault. The instrumentation is simple, but you'll hear my voice naturally gets louder on higher notes compared to the lower ones. Now let's compare that to the vocals in Take Me Away, an EDM track that my husband, Zircon, also known as Andrew Aversa, produced for his upcoming album, Arcology. This one is much more layered and dense. On top of that, I also sing a wide range of low to high notes, which makes mixing even harder. This bridge section in particular has a very dynamic lead. To handle this, we use a range of techniques, so let's break it down. First, check out how that section sounds without EQ, compression, or automation. I'll leave the reverb and delay on. Yikes! As you can hear, it goes from too soft to too loud. So first things first, we use an EQ to cut out some of the extreme low frequencies, plus the very high ones. This might look different for a male vocalist, but my voice just doesn't go this low. Even if we don't hear the low frequencies in this range, the rumble and air that get picked up by the mic will clutter the mix. Next, we're using the Pro C compressor. If you're not familiar, all a compressor does is reduce the input volume if it gets too loud. That lets us turn up the volume overall, giving us a more even sound. These settings we're using here will affect almost the whole vocal part, but the ratio, which is like how much volume reduction is applied, is very gentle. Then we use the glue, another compressor which has much stronger volume reduction but only affects the loudest notes. Between the EQ and two compressors, things are already sounding a lot more even. The next problem is sibilance, my sounds. We always use a de-esser plugin like Pro DS to automatically turn down the sibilance. We live for Unfortunately, some people, like me, have stronger sibilants than others, and even a de-esser isn't enough. So we'll go through manually and dip down the input volume of the vocal track where the sibilance is especially loud. Overall, things are sounding pretty good, and we could even stop here, but for EDM tracks like this, it really helps to add more brightness to the vocal part to help it cut through all those synths and drums. So here's another EQ which is dipping out a few lower, more resonant frequencies and boosting my high range to help it cut through. Normally this would not be good for sibilants, but since we already have a de-esser and volume automation, it's okay. And now it sounds just right. We do the same thing for harmony vocals, except sometimes, as you can see here, we have to do volume automation. That's because my harmonies are usually lower than the lead vocals, and my low range tends to be quite quiet. So it helps to boost those low sections. Finally, let's take a quick look at the reverb here. This works a bit differently than when we're doing pop stacks. Here we have the reverb on a send track. This lets us process just the reverb without affecting the main dry part. Just like with my pop stacks, we use Arts Acoustic Reverb and Valhalla Shimmer. But we also use some intense compression on the reverb. This prevents the reverb from getting too loud when my voice swells, and also brings it up at the end of a phrase, which sounds nice.
Take me away, take me
away. Also, because reverb can sometimes sound a little muddy, we're using an EQ just on the reverb to cut out some of those low resonant frequencies.
We live for centuries, but never breathe a second.
Now just for fun, here's what the reverb sounds like without the extra compression or EQ in the mix. It's a bit overpowering. And there you have it. That's how we mix vocals even in a very dynamic song. If you enjoy this kind of tutorial and want to hear more, please subscribe to my channel and leave a comment with what you'd like to see next. Thank you, and see you next time.